Welcome in another episode of BLT Bets, and we're adding an extra ingredient this week because Zach Laing is here, fresh off knee surgery.
Hello. I'm back.
Zach is a very active member in our Twitter community.
I was trying to figure out a way to get the Z in there.
Yeah, BLT Bets with a Z at the end.
Oh, that's actually smart.
I like that.
That's a good way to mix. Yeah, good.
Two for the price of one.
I'm excited because Zach, you are, and you're interesting. You're kind of like BaggedMilk, where you didn't really bet a ton like a couple of years ago, right? Like
Yeah.
This is something you're still pretty new into.
Yeah, well, actually, when I started at the Nation, that's how I kind of got my foothold 2 and a bit years ago. You know, it took me a little while to kind of understand what betting was and how it worked, but I'm a total degenerate now, just like that car alarm outside.
Good Lord.
I don't think people could probably hear that on the recording, but yes, outside of our studio, there's a car alarm going off, and it is wildly distracting.
It is very distracting. It is very loud.
Always
Loud.
something going on around here. That isn't normal.
Yeah, we did a pregame show once, and they just decided to start chopping down a tree, like with
Nice.
a chainsaw and stuff, midway through the show, and it was
good.
incredibly distracting. This is actually insane.
I don't like this at all.
This makes me wildly uncomfortable. Okay, let's focus. Zach is here. Join our Twitter community.
Oh, shit, Tyler, that's your car.
No, I'm parked more around the corner. Now you're kind of worrying me. Oh, it's the one right there. You can see it. Will the owner of a navy blue Ford Escape please come to the front of our office?
Yep.
Anyways, there's 22 people in our community. We basically talk about what we're betting on and what we like and share wild bets that we find from around the internet. Like a guy who put $10 of his free bet on Cody Ceci to score the first goal in Game 7 between the Oilers and Kings and won $400 off
Nuts.
Why would
That's just wild.
So I got the $10 free bet as well. I did Cassian because it was a $300 payout. But I'm a firm believer that when you get a free bet, you hammer something. You don't play it safe.
Yeah.
You try to make some money.
I think I did the Carolina puck line against Boston, which was like plus 210, and it hit a home team had hit it in every single game. It was $20.
And then it didn't hit.
It didn't hit because what's his name? Pasternak scored with like 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
That whole sequence was terrible because Slavin's stick just exploded too.
Yeah.
And then he decided to go and he went to the bench to get his stick, leaving Pasternak wide open on the back door. That was a frustrating one.
Okay, at the time of us recording this, it is 2:50. Will the car alarm be off by 2:53?
What are we betting on, boys?
Oh, I'm taking the over.
Or no, let's try to get exact time. It's 2:50. What time will their alarm be off at?
253.
I had to go 55.
Oh, 254.
I'm going to say 2:57. I think
All
we're
right,
going to
here we
do
go.
7 more
We got
minutes of
7
hell.
more minutes. of this.
Tyler.
Round 1 of the NHL playoffs, we gave a bunch of bets on the last show. I did not do great. To recap, I had Florida minus 1.5 games. That one actually hit. I missed on Boston, heartbreaking. I missed on Kucherov to be the leading goal scorer. That was a half-unit throw, like whatever.
Oh, it's off.
Oh, wait. Everybody, Price is Right rules. We all lost.
Yeah, we all lost. We all went over. I nailed the Rangers. Missed on the Rangers minus 1.5 games, though, unfortunate. Nailed Colorado minus 2.5 games. Missed on Calgary minus 1.5. Missed on Calgary minus 2.5. Missed on Edmonton minus 1.5. So my first round stats, since I did keep them, is I finished down 2.65 units on my daily faceoff show bets, though, which were betting game to game on the daily faceoff show. I finished up 2.1 units. So round 1, not great. Finished down 0.7 of a unit or whatever. Not the worst thing in the world. Liam, how'd you do in your round 1 bets?
I did pretty well. I hit on the big ones, which was important. So I got Florida in 6 or less. Mm-hmm. I missed on Tampa in 6 and the Kucherov one. Mm-hmm. I hit the Rangers. Mm-hmm. I missed on Boston, but I hit the Evander Kane plus 850, which was
nice.
good.
The leading
real
scorer
nice.
in the series.
Yes.
Nice.
So that was
Damn.
a big one. And then I had a parlay of the Flames, Panthers, and Oilers, which I also hit.
What did that pay out?
It actually wasn't even that good. It was like plus 2 something.
Still, though.
Because Calgary and the Panthers were such heavy favorites. Well,
Yeah.
Money's money.
BaggedMilk, you talked about how you were betting on Evander Kane to go over 2.5 goals in the series. So you hit that, and that was even money too. And he hit that in one game. Like, come on. Is there anything else you had success betting on in the opening round?
Honestly, I did not great. I kind of bet too much with my heart on this one. Like Bouchard over 1 goal, didn't get it. You know,
And he had like 5 assists too. Like, he actually had a good series.
So I had Oilers winning in 6 or less, didn't hit it. Yeah, there's just a bunch of those that I just did not get at all. Correct series result, I did not hit. I thought I'd go for a little juicy one. It was plus 700. I thought it'd be 4-2. But, so, yeah, way she goes.
Yeah,
way she goes sometimes.
Zach, you weren't on our last episode, but what were you betting on in round one? How'd you do?
Yeah, I actually did pretty good. For the Oilers series, I had the Oilers to win by 1.5 games. That didn't hit. Otherwise, I had McDavid over 8.5 points, Hyman over 3.5, and Bouchard over 2.5 points. Those ones all hit, so I was pretty happy about that. And then I only did 2 bets outright for the series. They were both sweep bets. I picked the Panthers to sweep the Capitals. That one didn't hit. But the Avs swept the Preds at plus 250. So that one was a pretty nice little one. So I'm going in a lot heavier in round 2, though.
Really? See, and I'm the opposite. There's not as much that I love on like the series pricing front of round 2. But I guess that's where we can jump into things. There's 4 series going. 2 of them get started on Tuesday night. And one of those 2 is going to be the Battle of Florida between the Lightning and the Rangers. 5 o'clock puck drop for game 1 on Tuesday. The Lightning actually open up as underdogs in this series, which I find interesting considering they split the season series, and it's the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions who had a much tougher first-round opponent as well in the Toronto Maple Leafs. Anyone like the dog Lightning here at plus 135?
Yes.
You're a big Lightning guy, though.
I just don't know how we can continue to doubt them. Like, until they lose, I will put my money on them every time. That's the way I'm going to roll, I think. Well, not think this. That's exactly what I'll be doing.
I like that mindset, too. I rolled with that in the first round with Tampa.
Yeah, me too.
And I cashed out a big money line play on Tampa in game 7 there because I just couldn't trust the Leafs. Like, you look at Tampa, they're back-to-back for a reason. They've been there. They've done that. I couldn't trust the Maple Leafs, a team that has obviously had their struggles. But, yeah, I really like the Lightning on the money line, or on the series line, I guess, for that one. I think it's
so you're taking them like minus a game and a half yet?
No.
Oh, just taking them straight up win?
Up, yeah.
Plus 131. If you do like the Lightning minus a game and a half, it's plus 220, but I agree. Plus 131. That I'm going to chew on it here for a little bit, but it's interesting. Like, how can you bet against like Liam said, like, they're proving that they still got it. They're not exhausted or anything like that. I do think this series, these 2 teams will just beat each other to death. Like, it'll be a chippy physical series, but. Well,
last year was a lot of fun. The 2 of them.
Yeah.
The two.
And it went 7, right?
Did it? It went at least 6.
Yeah, it wasn't a quick series.
No. I think
double checking.
Tampa won game 1 and then Florida came back or something like that. Either way, this series is going to be incredibly fast.
It went 6.
I think there'll be a lot of goals.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, Vasilevsky's been such a weird goaltender because he's shown up when they really needed him, but he's also had moments where he's not been that great. And Bobrovsky's kind of been similar as well. Like, I just don't really know what to expect from the goaltenders. But again, Tampa Bay just have all the same guys who are just performing and doing well.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Point missing game 1 could make a big difference.
That's what makes me nervous is if Point's unavailable. Yikes.
But Nick Paul.
He's the answer.
Wild, eh?
Nick Paul, legend.
Former senator stepping up to sink the Leafs too.
One thing I wonder about that series too, you look at round 1 against Toronto, Kucherov, he was quiet. Vasilevsky, he didn't have a great series. Like, those are their 2 best players. So if they have a little bit of regression to the mean statistically, I mean, that could be a difference maker for them.
If I'm betting on this series, it's the Lightning, or it's taking this series to go 7 games, which is plus 220. BaggedMilk? Panthers? No.
This is one of those ones where I'm going to have a hard time betting on it because it could easily go either way. If Tampa wins the series, would you really be surprised? Probably not.
No.
But Florida is they've been a juggernaut all season, so I also have a hard time betting against them too. I think in terms of just series winner on this one, I might kind of stay away from it.
I think that's fair too. I was looking at some of the player props. There's not even anything there that really stands out to me. I was hoping that the books would disrespect Carter Verhaeghe because I made some good money in the first round betting on him to get an assist. He was plus 180 every game.
Wow.
And that guy's unreal. Like, he had 12 points in 6 games in round 1. Granted, there was a 5-point game mixed in there, right? But I'm even looking at his over-under. For goals, it's set at 3.5. I get that he had a good first round, but it is very hard to score 4 goals in a playoff series. Like, Carter Verhaeghe's over-under is basically the same as Connor McDavid's. That doesn't jive with me.
No, that's pretty wild.
That's silly.
Yeah. Barkov's point total is set at 5.5. And even that, though, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, you never know how these things are going to play out. He had 6 points in 6 games against Washington. Tampa's a better opponent. Like, I don't know. This series is going to be tight. It's going to be awesome hockey. I think I might just stick to like player props on a game-to-game basis, or I'm tempted to maybe take it to go the distance at 7 games.
I guess quickly, while we're talking about player props, was there a player prop in the first round? You said Verhaeghe. Was there one that you guys like to hit every time they played?
McDavid over 1.5 was basically the freest money you could ever have.
Freest ever. The only time he was in jeopardy was Game 7, and then he just showed up anyway and did it. Jake Gensel's shot prop was basically automatic. It was 3.5, and I'm pretty sure he hit it in every single game. Austin just saves was nuts. Like,
Andre saves,
yeah, that was a good one. And I think the other one a bunch of my buddies were talking about was Patrice Bergeron. He had a monster. He was just hitting everything too. And Crosby when he was healthy.
Crosby was good when he was healthy.
Tons.
You guys talked about McDavid. I was so he scored in game 1, then he didn't score in games 2, 3, or 4. So I bet on him to score in games 5, 6, and 7. It was plus 110 or plus 115 every game. He was on another level for those last 3, but we'll get into that when we do. So that's Tampa, Florida. Let's stay in the East. Carolina and the Rangers. Zach, you were saying you like the Canes on the spread here?
I do like the Canes on the spread. Sits at minus 109 right now. I have questions about the New York Rangers. I think they got lucky to come out of that first round. We saw a big comeback to earth for Igor Shesterkin. He had a tremendous regular season, but he was pretty much average or below average in that series against Pittsburgh. And I look at Carolina and I see a team that's a lot deeper than the Penguins are right now. Up front, they're firing on all cylinders. Their back end has been really strong. And like Antti Ranta and net, like holy crap, he was tremendous in that series. He was so good for them. So in my eyes, I'm not as high on the Rangers as I think you guys are here. So I think it's a little risky. Like I don't love the money. I wish it was plus money. But minus 109, it's pretty close to even money on that. So I'm going to take a shot on that one and see if it hits.
I'm with you, Zach. I think I would bet on the Hurricanes in this series. I think I don't think Shesterkin looked quite like Shesterkin for some chunks of that series against the Penguins, and the Canes they're super deep.
So deep.
They've got guys that can score. They've got guys on back end that can put points up. I think this is going to be a tough one for the New York Rangers.
I think I'm off the Rangers train too. I was on them in round 1 against the Pens, but just the amount of shots they allow every single game.
Yeah.
Like, I think with the depth that Carolina has compared to the Penguins, it's just going to be so overwhelming for them. And what was it? The last 3 games of the series, I think they came back from behind in each game.
They were trailing, yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like Carolina is just better up front and on the blue line to prevent that from happening. You've also got to consider that 2 or 3 of those games they were up against Louis Domingue. 4 games, 5?
That's an interesting point too.
Like, and they couldn't win. They barely beat them.
Yeah,
and Jari was still hurt in Game 7 too.
Yeah,
like
and
he was far from 100%.
Crosby was hurt.
Yep.
Didn't Raquel come back as well?
He did.
Yeah.
They basically played with 3 players who were injured, and they still had to win in overtime.
Though, if you're gonna pump the Rangers' tires a little bit, what were they? They were like the first team to ever come back down 3-1 and down in each of those games as well to come back to win.
Yeah, they were.
Did you pull your money out or what? We saw you in the BLT Bets community.
I did not. I rode with it.
Good for you.
I could have cashed out for the same amount that I bet, and I was like, no, trust the process and go. But now I'll admit, I think you guys are talking me out of a Rangers series bet I was going to place.
I just think Carolina's so deep, and they've got guys that can score throughout the lineup and on the back end. I think they're going to be a handful for the Rangers.
See, and it's interesting. You're like, Shesterkin doesn't look like himself. And part of the reason I didn't cash out my bet at any point, because even heading into Game 6, I could have gotten half my money back. And I was like, it'll be tough for the Rangers to win 2 in a row. Do I just take this now? But I just kept going back to like, Shesterkin can't be this bad for this long.
That's what I thought.
He can't keep being bad. Keep being bad. And I think maybe that's not the right line of thinking, but there's still a part of me that kind of goes like, just if he steals 1 for you on the road, the Rangers, MSG, like they're tough to beat in that rank. I just kind of go like, you never know. But no, maybe I'm not as confident in them as I was maybe before we started this conversation, because you guys make some good points. Like the Canes are fucking deep.
They're really deep.
Really deep.
I think it's funny what you say about like Shesterkin can't be this bad, because that's also what we were saying about the Oilers. It's like, okay, they can't just keep being bad.
Yeah.
And then they turn it around. Like,
Yeah.
I think just teams, I guess sometimes our players in this situation too are just going to have like 2 or 3 games where it's like, that was shitty.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, there they are. And like, it's hard to bet against the best goalie in the league right now, I guess, with Shesterkin, but I just don't think the players in front of him are good. Mostly the blue line more than the forwards for me is the issue. Like, they're just the shots, like I said. Like, that's the thing for me is, like, I feel like Carolina's going to be able to pounce on that. And they were scoring a lot of goals against who they play? The Bruins, too.
Yeah. Edmonton, Calgary, then. Let's jump into it. BOA, Battle of Alberta. Over under 3.5 viral videos of fights in the stands.
Oh, over. Just to me, this series, just like, this seems like a fist fight waiting to happen. You know? Like, if you're an Oilers fan going down to the Saddle Dome and you're sitting in the press level, like, you're taking your life in your hands.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be one of those ones where if this series gets greasy on the ice, that's going to end up in the stands. It's going to end up in the streets. Like, I mean, you saw the Leafs lose Game 7 the other day. Their fans were fighting each other. So, like,
I thought that was
Alberta,
hilarious, by the way.
I did too.
That was so funny.
I did too. That guy that looked like Pat Maroon, who's just trying to get away. This just could not get there.
Shirtless.
Man, there's something about that. Like, again, just drunk hockey fans just running around like that fighting. It wasn't even like it was like I don't know. It just felt like it was hilarious. I don't know. They were just flailing around. So good. Edmonton, Calgary to go 7 games is plus 210. Edmonton plus 155. The Flames are minus 176. The Flames to finish it off in 6 games or earlier is plus 110. This is basically one of the closest series that the sportsbooks are offering. Only Tampa and Florida is considered closer. One of my bets will be this series to go 7 at plus 210.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're in for a long BOA.
I think we're in for a long, stressful 2 weeks here.
I'm already in on that one.
Yeah.
And I actually also took the Oilers to win the series 4-3. So the Oilers to win in 7, basically.
Yeah.
Plus 675.
Whoa.
That's juicy.
This is nuts. So I'm all over it. I got the Oilers outright too, plus 180.
A big question for me, though, and unfortunately it has to be said, is what's going on with Leon Draisaitl? Because Frank Saravalli tweeted today, hi,
Dr.
ankle sprain.
Saravalli.
Dr. Saravalli. I got the Photoshop from Frank after he tweeted it. That makes me nervous, man. Yeah, he played 22 minutes in Game 7, but he had a little hitch in his giddy up. He wasn't looking like Leon Draisaitl. Now, when the ankle kind of loosened up a little bit as the game wore on and the adrenaline starts pumping, he started to look a little bit more closer to himself. But that's a scary one.
It is for sure. I mean, Kevin Bieksa made a really good point in the first intermission. You know, you watched the first period, you saw Draisaitl laboring, he looked slow. Bieksa's point was basically that once you kind of get going and get that blood flow in the body, you kind of start to forget about the pain, so to speak. And you see in the second and third periods, his time on ice ramped up. He looked better. He was skating a little bit stronger. Now, I saw a TikTok from the other day of Leon Draisaitl in the Edmonton community, and he apparently wasn't wearing a walking boot. Like he was.
Is this the one at the restaurant?
Yes.
Yes.
So apparently he was just walking around in like whatever regular footwear he was wearing, which I thought was kind of interesting. And it's TikTok, it's social media, but you know, you never know. If he's feeling a bit better, he could be good to go. And truth be told, you know, an extra 3 or 4 days of rest for him here is going to be huge because our series doesn't start till Wednesday.
I think it's interesting though too, because in Game 7, he wasn't in his office on the power play. He was in front of the net, or like the slot, whatever you want to call it. He played wing the entire game. He only took face-offs like late in the third period.
Yep.
And he was barely skating. Like even towards the end, like I don't know. It just worries me. Like I feel like he's going to miss Game 1.
The margins in a playoff series like this, like it's going to be razor thin. The difference between winning and losing every night will be a bounce or a big play from a star or a depth guy, whatever. The Oilers, if they don't have Leon, it's hard to see them winning a series without him. As much as, you know, I'm an Oilers guy, but without 29, I'm just not sure how the Oilers can beat the Flames 4 times.
Well, the reality is, too, though, that the Flames are going up against a much different animal in the Oilers than they just faced in the Stars.
Yeah,
Say the same for the Oilers, right?
They are.
I feel like Calgary's obviously just
Calgary's obviously
heavier
better.
team.
They're better. They're heavier, but like stylistically, it's going to be very similar.
That's a good point, actually.
I think it's going to be interesting the way Calgary deals with the Oilers' blue line. And I don't think the Oilers' blue line by any means is like a bunch of bullies, but Dallas is pretty soft blue line.
It's just a puck-moving blue line,
Yeah,
right? Like
where
they
the
have Yanni
Oilers-
Hakanpää and then a bunch of guys who just move the puck really
Yeah,
well.
where the Oilers is like they only really have like Nurse, I guess, who's like a puck-moving guy, like Bouchard too, I suppose. But everyone else is like a bit more physical, like pretty good defensively. Like they're not going to have 50 shots a night.
The Oilers they're just a more physical team too. Like I was watching the game 7 last night against Dallas, and I was just like, Dallas isn't throwing any hits here. They're not trying to make life difficult on Gaudreau or Tkachuk at all. That's not what they're going to get from Edmonton.
Do you think that'll play into Edmonton's advantage then, where Dallas hasn't had that for 7 games? Calgary hasn't had that for 7 games, where in Edmonton, like it was still physical. LA was a physical team. Not as physical as Edmonton.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, obviously, I betting with my heart here. I want the Oilers to win this, but it's like Tyler said, the margin for error here is razor thin. You need to have your T's crossed and your I's dotted in this series because this is going to be some big boy hockey coming up here.
Yeah. So what are you guys going to bet?
Series to go 7, and then I got a couple player props I like. Evander Kane to go over 3 goals feels like the easiest money in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's paying minus 118. I think at the absolute worst, like the guy had 7 in the first 7 games of this playoffs. At worst, this thing is pushing for you. He's out there with empty nets, so if the Oilers win a game or two, there's a chance you can mooch an empty netter. If Draisaitl's not up to 100%, that means they're probably going to be giving Kane more minutes, right?
Yep.
Because again, like if you're going 11-7 and there's no Draisaitl to filter through, going to be McLeod, Nuge, McDavid down the middle. Kane just gets more minutes with those guys. I think Kane over 3 goals is an absolute lock. Absolute lock. And then I'm also digging McDavid over 24.5 shots on goal. What do you have, Zach?
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I also like Kane to score more goals than Tkachuk in the series. That one's minus 139.
I also took that one as well.
Tkachuk has been absolutely absent for the Flames. He scored a goal in Game 7. It was a big goal
last night.
His first,
Big
he had 1 though in 7
He had
games.
1 goal. He was absent otherwise. I don't think he looked good out there at all. So, you talk about Kane and the opportunities that he has, Tyler. I mean, I think it just plays right into it. 2 shot props I'm on already. McDavid over 24.5 at minus 105 and Nuge over 16.5 at plus 120. The Nuge one I think is really interesting because we started to see him get a lot of ice time with Kane and Hyman. That's going to be a very high event line offensively with a couple of strong drivers of play. So, we know Nuge is a guy that likes to shoot the pill. BaggedMilk, you're always on the shot props for him.
Love that shot prop.
He had 19 in round 1.
Yeah, so there you go, right?
And I think if Leon does miss time or isn't playing as much, somebody's got to step up, and Nugent Hopkins is a candidate where you have to step up.
Absolutely, right? And I think a lot of it comes down to, well, how is Jay Woodcroft going to deploy the lines, right? Is he going to continue to go 11-7 and rotate, McDavid through 3rd and 4th lines? I think that's something that's very realistic, and I think especially when you look on the back end, this probably won't happen, but I almost wonder if a guy like Marcus Niemelainen might get recalled to be a 7th defenseman. We talk about a big physical series, like that's exactly what Nemo's been for the Oilers in his brief time, and same thing in Bakersfield. So it'll be interesting to see the way that it all kind of shakes down.
What are you touching over there?
I just like touching this one. I never get to sit over here.
We're in our office today. Usually we do these over Zoom, but BaggedMilk is in the usual
I'm in the producer
producer's
chair.
So he's
It's
a
got like a
fancier
nice
mic.
arm thing. I like it.
It's a nice spot to sit.
Hands free over here.
Yeah. Liam?
I only have 1
Okay.
for this series, mostly because I don't know which way I want to go on each team. So I'm just going to say it goes to 6.
Exactly 6.
I think it'll just go 6 games.
Plus 200?
Plus 200.
All
That's
right.
my hit.
See, and I have 7 plus 220. What do you got? What do you like? Who you betting on, BaggedMilk? You can take your boy Nuge over 1.5 goals? He does play well against the Flames.
He does play well against the Flames. I just think he needs to shoot more. He needs to Tyler, we talk about it all the time. We text each other. We just like that.
Yeah.
That quick wrister. We haven't seen a whole lot of it off the left-hand side. I'd like to see more of that. I do have McDavid over 24.5 shots. I got Nugent Hopkins over 16.5 shots. I feel like at plus 120, I mean, come on.
How can you not?
The guy, I think if this series goes long, which we all believe it probably will, he's going to have to. He's going to have to be firing pucks. He's going to have to be firing pucks from everywhere. And that's one thing that the Oilers did a lot better in Game 6 and Game 7 is they were firing pucks. They were trying to create their own chaos, and I think that's going to be the plan against the Flames as well. And I also have Kane to beat Tkachuk head up in goals.
Not bad.
What a random duo to like put together. Just like compared to how different they've both been scoring goals. Like Tkachuk has won, and he came yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, it's just maybe we're too invested in Kane, but that just seems like a very easy.
But this also seems like the kind of series where Kane can make some noise.
Or he'll either make noise and be at his best, or he'll get super distracted.
Yes.
Yeah. Like what was that?
There's going to be noise.
Yeah.
But it's just, is it going to be the sweet, sweet song we hope to hear, or is it going to be a little bit messier? But this is the kind of series where a guy like Evander Kane, like, this is what you're here for, man. This is big boy shit. You play big boy hockey. You do not shy away from the physicality, and there's going to be plenty of it.
On the flip side, I think this could be the same for Matthew Tkachuk. I know I just said how can they compare the two of them, but like this seems like the type of series too where he can just go in and just muck some stuff up and grab a couple of greasy goals and do what Matthew Tkachuk typically does.
I think too that a big part of it, especially with a guy like Tkachuk, because he loves playing the Oilers, is they're going to have to stay disciplined. They're going to have to find ways to avoid that if we're going to be talking about extending this series outward. And Matthew Tkachuk is going to be annoying. He always is.
I'm going to be curious to see what he's like after whistles against the Oilers. Because in that Dallas series, he had that whole Klingberg thing that was going on.
Yeah.
There was also a couple of times he would grab like Ryan Suter out of the pile. And it's like, he's not going to do anything. Like, who is he? Because didn't he fight Ethan Bear? He fought Ethan Bear, right?
Yep. Ethan Bear beat him up.
What a random person to try and fight.
Yep.
Like, I think Kulak is his man. I think him and Kulak will have something this series. Like, they'll fight, scrum, whatever it is. I just feel like it's him or the cowboy, Chris Russell.
Listen,
Could you imagine Chris Russell and Tkachuk?
Listen, I bet I wouldn't want to fight the cowboy. That guy throws his body in front of everything. He'll tune you up.
You know one bet I wish I could place?
Block shots.
Oh, yeah, that would be a fun one.
Yeah.
Evander Kane to fight somebody in this series.
That would be great.
Right? Like, we haven't seen that from Kane. We know he's a scrapper. We know he can scrap. You look at the LA series, he was in a lot of altercations, a lot of post-whistle stuff. Just feels like this might be the series where we finally see Kane beat the snot out of somebody.
But that's also the kind of thing that's like what Tyler was saying. Like, I almost would rather him avoid it a little bit. Like, play physical, mix it up, be annoying, but like...
They need him to score.
They need him to score.
Oh, for sure.
But again, like if there's a game that gets a little bit out of hand, there's gonna be some mitts dropping.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. This is going to be a bloodbath.
Over, under 2.5 fights in this series.
I'm saying over.
Over.
Under. There wasn't one in the first round for the Oilers. I don't know. There was barely any fights in the first round, right?
Cassian wanted to a few times with
That's true.
Lemieux.
Did
Yeah.
ask Lemieux.
I think 2.5 is right where the line would be set, though, if you wanted even money on either side.
I'm taking over.
I think there'll be 2.
I'll go under. I'll say 2 as well.
I think Cassian and Tkachuk could go again.
I could also see I could see one of those fights that you don't expect, like Nugent Hopkins drops him again and then just the place goes crazy.
Yeah.
I could see someone going with like Zadorov, like Nurse stepping up perhaps with Zadorov, like Gabranson, someone like that. I think this is going to be very fun. Even if like the Oilers lose, whatever it is, this is just going to be a really fun series. And if this is over in 4 either way, obviously if the Oilers win, I'll be pretty happy. But it'll just be disappointing not to have like the full Battle of Alberta.
Yeah. I can't see a scenario where it's over quickly. Regardless of the outcome. The season series was tied. These two teams play each other hard all the time. And I think it's going to be one of those ones where if the Oilers can go into Calgary and steal one of the first 2, then all of a sudden, hey, now there's a little bit of pressure on. And also, Calgary's got more pressure, I think, in this series than the Oilers do because they've got some major contracts that they need to sign after this year is over. They kind of need it.
Calgary winning round 1 felt like exhale. Okay, we got through the first round. Edmonton winning round 1 felt like a big monumental moment for them. If Calgary's season ends in round 2, I think considering their regular season, it might be deemed a bit of a failure. Edmonton loses in round 2. I think the outside perspective, obviously in the market, it's different. But I think the outside perspective, if the Oilers lose, would be like, kind of what we expected from the Oilers this year.
They're like, the Oilers are the underdog in this series.
Yeah.
They're banged up. Mm-hmm. But that is also the opportunity to go in and make some noise and cause a little ruckus. Mm-hmm. Listen, they're going to be extremely tough on Gaudreau. They're going to be extremely tough on that Oilers, on that Flames first line. And they're going to have to be. Because Johnny got some points in that first round for the Flames. You know, Tkachuk didn't score until last night, but it was a huge goal.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a tough series. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be stressful.
It will be. Okay, let's move on to the last series, the only one we haven't talked about yet, and that's Colorado-St. Louis. Colorado minus 450, St. Louis plus 330. For me, there's a few spots.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, plus 330 for the Blues?
It's just a little bit disrespectful.
So are you betting it?
Yes.
Really?
I have to admit something very quickly.
Okay.
In the first round, I told Tyler this in secret. Now I'm telling the
About the
world.
bananas?
Ooh.
No, that's a different podcast. So I made a bet that St. Louis would win against Minnesota. It was like plus 330 or whatever. It was similar to what it is now. And the reason I did it was because I thought St. Louis is too good to have a line that high. And I cashed out before the series started. And St. Louis won the series.
You chickened out.
Chickened
Wow.
out.
Scared money don't make money.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
scared. I was very scared.
Understood.
And then obviously they won. So this series, I am going back to it. I'm not scared anymore. I've learned my lesson, and I am going to put money on St. Louis to win this series.
I think you are absolutely insane.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like, but
I respect it.
you can't. I'm not going to bet Colorado minus 500 either.
That's the
No,
thing.
even Colorado minus a game and a half at minus 170 isn't a great bet.
So here's the one that I'm on in this series. St. Louis plus 2.5 games. It's minus 128. There's no way that St. Louis doesn't steal a game, or at least 2.
Yeah, that's still 2, yeah.
They have to steal 2 games.
But like, that's not unreasonable.
That's not unreasonable at all. It's not. Look, St. Louis, they did a hell of a job against Minnesota.
They did.
They really did. And that was a Minnesota team that had a lot of heat on them.
Yep.
A lot of high expectations. Like, let's not forget that, it's only been a few years since St. Louis won the Cup. And their core pieces of that Cup-winning team are still there.
It's also been 12 months since they were swept by the Avalanche.
It's very true.
Well, there's a little chip on your shoulder. Come on.
Absolutely.
You don't want that again.
I just think the Avs are too good.
I agree they're too good, but like to suggest that St. Louis can't win 2 games?
It's a little crazy.
Yeah,
I don't
that,
mind
though.
plus 2.5.
My prediction is Colorado in 6, so that works. I'm also probably going to go, the payout sucks, but I'm going Colorado minus a game and a half at minus 170. Payout sucks, but I'm in on it.
I think I might be in on Zach's plus 2.5.
I have some. No, you go ahead.
I still think Colorado ultimately wins it, but I don't think it's another sweep.
Yeah, they're not sweeping them, but I think they're winning the series.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
think
not going to
Colorado's
bet
too
it
much
at
of a
minus
wagon.
500 either. Like,
No, doesn't make sense.
You want to know a little juicy one that I got?
Yes.
I got Colorado and the Colorado St. Louis series and the Florida Tampa series, both to go over 5.5 games, plus 191.
that is juicy.
You think about it,
Yeah.
right? Colorado, St. Louis, it's got to go 6 games. Like there's for sure St. Louis stealing 2, I think. And then Florida, Tampa, I mean, that's as big of a coin flip series as there is in this round. In my eyes, at least.
Yeah.
So why not throw them together on a little parlay? Plus 191. It's not that bad at all. And if you want to get really frisky like I did, you can parlay every series over 5.5 games at plus 678. So I threw a little bit on that.
So every series over 5.5 games
Yeah.
is what?
Plus 678.
Really?
That's
So
an interesting bet.
Every series has to go 6 games at least.
That's a really interesting bet.
Well, which one wouldn't?
That's what I'm saying.
Colorado?
Colorado,
The
maybe.
closest one.
Maybe the Rangers just get the wheels beat
Yeah,
off
that's
them,
true.
right? As much as I don't think it'll happen, it could.
But I mean, you go a half unit or a third of a unit.
Yeah, yeah.
I went a full unit because I'm a total degenerate.
yeah.
But like, scared money don't make money, baby.
Fuck, that's an interesting one. That's really interesting.
I know it is, right? Like, I don't mind it at all. You could probably even go like over 4.5 games if you really wanted to play it safe. And it'd probably be, I don't know, around plus 400, maybe plus 300.
So you're betting on, at that point, you're betting on there just being straight up no sweeps in round one.
Pretty much.
So I'm going to quickly throw that together here in the little calculator and see what it would pay out. Yeah, you're right, BaggedMilk. It's disrespectful, the shit I'm seeing here. Like, the Blues to just not get swept minus 417, like, that doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
Like, come on, people.
What? Like, I get it. Colorado is an absolute wagon, but like,
So is Minnesota,
come on.
Yeah.
right?
Come on.
Colorado, I know injuries have played into this. So in the first round for the last 3 years, they have lost 2 games.
Minus 141 for there to be no sweeps in round one.
Minus 141.
It's not bad.
I mean,
You could even meet it halfway. Like, the thing that's really throwing this off is the Florida-Tampa series. So if you just take Florida-Tampa at 5.5, then it shoots it up to plus 143. So no sweeps, Florida-Tampa to go at least 6.
That's nice right there.
That's the spot. That's something I'm hitting. I'm going to write that one down.
There's a couple other props I really like on the Colorado-St. Louis series, though.
I took Makar over 6 points.
So did I.
I feel like that's free money.
He had 10 points in 4 games, guys.
I feel like that's
It's
free
insane,
money.
right?
Yeah.
Another one I'm on, McKinnon over 27.5 shots. Guys, he had 44 shots in 4 games against the Predators.
That's like, the guy could very well hit that in 3 games. Like, that's insane.
He had 11 shots per game. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous to me. Like, I don't know how that one doesn't cash.
I love that one. I'm in on Makar with you guys. I'm also taking McKinnon over 3.5 goals at plus 120. He's basically like goal a game in his NHL playoff career.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, he scored 5 goals in 4 games. 5 goals in 4 games this year, 33 and 54 playoff games on his career. So not close to a goal a game. I was wrong. But 5 and 4 this year. Like, I just think he could easily pop 4. This is a guy who could score a freaking hat trick in game 2, and you're basically there. So yeah, I have a lot now looking back here because I love the McKinnon bets, shots and goals. Love the Makar points. I'm taking Colorado minus a game and a half, even though the payout isn't great. And then I love this no sweeps plus Tampa, Florida over 5.5, inspired by Zach. That's the spot I'm on.
Another
Plus
one I'm
140.
interested in too is David Perron over 2.5 goals.
I was going to say his points 5.5. I mean, that one's even money. I don't know what the other one's paying out, but just David Perron, he had a hat trick in 1 game.
He had 5 goals in round 1, I think, and they came in 2 games. He scored a hattie and a
7.
Yeah, or they didn't go
Game
7.
6, sorry. Game 6. There was
David
so many
Perron-
game 7s.
David Perron over 2.5 goals is plus 120. I kind of like that
Yeah,
one.
I like that. I was looking at him too. And also, Colton Parayko is 2.5 points. He's even money. I believe he had 4 or 5 in the first round.
Parayko had 4 points. Yep.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
That's an interesting spot, too. A lot of player props. I think that's the way to go here.
Some of these, it's once you get into the later rounds, it's just who knows.
Yeah, it's just such a shit
Who
show,
knows?
right?
Is there an update on Kempa? Is he expected to
He's
play?
playing. He's going to start game 1.
He is going to play? Okay.
That changes things, too. Right?
Yeah.
Kemper's legit. Hopefully his eye's okay. That was fucked, eh?
That was
Super
scary
fucked.
shit,
That was
man.
crazy.
Mike McKenna wrote a Daily Face-Off about why goalies take the risk of using the cat eye mask and all that. But, like, damn, if I was a goalie around the league and I saw that, I'd be like, holy
I'd be going to the Arturs Urbe.
just full-on player bucket.
Flip player bucket.
There's a rule in junior hockey that you can't wear cat eyes
Really?
as a goalie, yeah. Because I remember the goalie in Shore Park that they had, he wore them when he played in the US, and he brought it up here and he had to change his mask because for reasons of what happened.
Because a stick blade perfectly fits through it and it goes right to your eye. Makes sense.
Gnarly.
Disgusting.
Hate to see it.
Yep.
Gnarly, like us missing our sandwich bet every week.
Yeah, last week was not good.
Oh, that was the Golden State one, right?
There was a couple of factors I didn't put into play.
Okay.
Number 1, Memphis was in an elimination game at home. Should have probably considered that. Number 2, Memphis has an unbelievable record without Ja Morant. They've
Okay.
lost like 3 games.
We
in,
should have
like,
considered that,
30.
yes.
And my third one was Steve Kerr had COVID.
Ah. Still, the fact that I was sitting there and I was like, all right, we got this parlay. Let's check in on Golden State, see how they're doing. And I was like, holy fuck, they're down like 35 at the half. And then me being an idiot, I was like, well, I mean, Steph and the boys will come out shooting in the second half.
That's what I
so I
thought.
live bet them like plus 24 and a half points. I'm like, they'll make it close. And I check back 10 minutes later, I was like, no, they're down by 45. It's gotten much, much worse.
They finished 54, yeah. And I had 2 people tweet at me, which I thought was hilarious, saying how much I messed up on it. So,
Yep.
sorry, everybody.
Yep. Well, let's put together a sandwich. You guys ready?
Are we doing a playoff sandwich? And 4 layers. This is a big sandwich.
This is going to be a juicy one.
I was thinking just game ones in the NHL or NBA. NBA's not even really out yet, is it?
I got a game one then.
I haven't.
Oh, yeah. It
I'll
starts.
start this off.
Okay, what do you got, BM?
I'm going to go Tampa, Florida. First period, both teams score plus 125.
I dig that. I was going to throw the over from that game into this mix, but I will refrain from that now. Zach, do you have anything jumping off to you?
I got to pull it up really quickly. I don't know. I've struggled with my first round bets in games. I really did not do as well as I hoped I would.
Me neither.
It's been really frustrating.
Me neither at all.
I'm not gonna lie.
Had it not been for my DraftKings, I probably would have been like, whoa. It's just kind of evened it out.
I've had some oopsies. I could see over 6 between Carolina and the Rangers.
Yeah, I don't mind that. So that'll be on Tuesday. So we throw that in over
Wednesday.
6. Sorry, Wednesday. Yes.
And that's minus 102, by the way.
This contradicts my point that was made not too long ago, but Colorado to win game 1.
Money line?
Yeah, just money line.
All right.
230 on points, but
All right. So then that leaves me searching for a bet in the Oilers Flames game to pick. What do I want to do? I mean, I could just be super greasy here. I'm thinking. Do we think the Oilers score a little bit in game 1? Do they get the offense rolling? You know what? This parlay is already so juicy. I'm just going to stick with I'm going to be the coward leg of the parlay. Just there to throw a little extra value in.
Little extra sprinkle.
So this bet takes our parlay from plus 542 to plus 670. 696, sorry. So it brings us up a pretty good amount. Oilers over 1.5 goals.
in the game,
Yep. OT included.
Let's do it.
I hope so.
Like,
Well-
if yours is the leg that does not hit on this, we've got a problem.
Oilers over 1.5 goals. Colorado to win game 1. Rangers Canes over 6. Both teams to score in the first period in Tampa, Florida.
Yep.
I'm excited for this one. It pays out plus 696. So if you were to throw $10 on it, you're basically getting $80 back. If you're betting on this, let us know. Join our community, BLT Bets, on Twitter.
It's very easy to do.
And we will sweat this thing out together.
It literally says communities on the side of your Twitter feed or at the bottom on your phone. And you just press search and type in BLT Bets. And it's the green one with the logo of BLT Bets.
I am also, just a bonus play, this game starts in an hour and a half, so I'm sure people won't even listen to the podcast in time. Jay's team total tonight. Chris Flexing gave up like 6 runs to the Phillies last time out. Jays are back at the Dome. Their offense is just famished right now. They desperately need to get some runs, and I like them to do exactly that tonight. Over 4.5 minus 110 is what I'm taking. All right.
Should we quickly review the picks? Or
Okay. Yeah, let's go through. So I can go first while you guys get your notes together. So my round 2 NHL picks. Tampa, Florida to go 7 games, plus 220. Edmonton, Calgary to go 7 games, plus 210. Just need one of those and it'll be profit. Kane over 3 goals, minus 118. McDavid shot prop, 24.5. Nude shot prop, 16.5. McKinnon shot prop, 27.5. McKinnon over 3.5 goals. Makar over 6 points. Colorado minus 1.5. And the parlay of no sweeps in the first 3. Florida, Tampa over 5.5 games at plus 143. So that's what I got. Liam?
I still can't believe that sweep one. I just think that's so funny. Okay, so I have Oilers Calgary to go to 6 games, to end in 6 games.
On the nose, 6 games.
On the nose, plus 200.
Okay.
Carolina plus 1.5 at plus 110.
Okay.
Carolina to win the series 4-2 at plus 650, which I
Wow.
thought was kind of wild. Tampa Bay straight up plus 131. Tampa Bay money line spread 1.5, which is plus 220.
Woo, juicy.
And I'm riding it. St. Louis to win the series, which is what, plus 300? I can't even
Plus
find it right
330.
now. 330.
Yeah.
That's what we're riding. Go Blues.
Zach.
I'm on a ton. I'm such a degenerate. It's terrible. Lightning outright plus 131. Canes minus 1.5, minus 109. St. Louis plus 2.5, minus 128. Colorado, St. Louis, and Florida, Tampa over 5.5 games. All series over 5.5 games plus 678. Oilers, Flames over 6.5. Oilers to win in Game 7. Oilers outright. I am on Makar over 6 points. McKinnon over 27.5 shots. Kane over Kachuk in goals. McDavid over 24.5 shots. And Nuge over 16.5 shots.
Zach has bet every single bet you could possibly get in a sports book.
I need help.
Let's keep the unit small. You're good.
I got Evander Kane outscoring Matt Kachuk at minus 139. I've got Cale Makar over 6 points at minus 118. I've got McDavid over 24.5 shots at minus 105. I've got Nuge over 16.5 shots at plus 120. I've got Evander Kane over 3 goals at minus 118. I have got the no sweeps parlay going. Added in the Tampa, Florida going over.
Yes.
And then what else did I have? I had one more. Oh, and then I have, you know what? Both teams to score tomorrow, Tampa and Florida. I think the first game, they're both going to get a couple in the first period.
Hot start in the Battle of Florida.
Battle of Florida. Florida
right.
man is out.
BOF.
BOF and BOA. Those are going to be unreal series. The other
Off
two
Boa.
I'm like mildly excited for. Battle of Florida, Battle of Alberta. Those will be unbelievable.
Amen.
It's good for the league to have these games. Like
Oh,
these
yeah.
series. It's great.
What's not good for the league is game on Friday at 10:30 p.m.
That is.
Yeah, that's weird.
It doesn't make any sense. Why? Do you have an answer?
No answer at all. Like, why you can't start that game at 7:30 Mountain, 9:30 Eastern is beyond me.
Or just 8 o'clock like they've done for
Yeah.
every other game. Like,
Yeah,
it
like,
just
why
doesn't
do we
make
need the
any
extra
sense.
half hour?
We literally
So
are missing half the games now.
Yep.
And the Oilers games got pushed back.
Although,
Just
Sunday, long weekend, Battle of Alberta, 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Mountain, 8
that'll
o'clock
be nice.
Eastern.
Yep.
Unreal.
Amen.
I think that's why they did it. Just like, okay, we'll do this to them and they'll hate it. But we'll give them a 6 o'clock.
But
on
there's like not
Sunday.
even like a good reason for that game to start at 8:30.
No, there's not. There must
It's
be
not
some-
like it's not like you're a beer league team and you're like, we can't get the ice till 8:30 tonight. Shit.
Maybe
like,
someone bucked the Saddle Dome.
and it's just unavailable until 8:30.
Sorry, guys. We've got bees knees and the police force going one-on-one.
Bees knees in the police force.
There's 6. It's the only logical explanation. But Wednesday, I guess we'll talk some other sports that aren't hockey.
Yes.
NFL futures.
Yes, you are itching to do NFL
Yes.
futures.
And we have a Grand Prix coming up, which
Yes.
we'll put a little juice on that one.
Yes.
So stay tuned.
Indeed.
Go to the community again.
Yes, go to the community. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of BLT Bets. Thanks for tuning in. This was a bit of a long one, too. I like it. But we're all ready to go for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Join our community. Give us your locks. We'll give you some love on the next episode as well. Until then, enjoy. Talk Wednesday.